Got to get the people what they want. Welcome to another edition of Power to the People. All of you in Buffalo and Atlanta on the radio, and those of you who are watching from across the country on all of our platforms. Listen, go ahead and click and like if you are watching on social media, and subscribe to the channel. We started doing periodically this after party radio show or podcast, and so for you to be able to get in and know, it'll send you an alert if you subscribe and tell it to send you an alert, and you get on and hear what we talk about after the show.
I was going to say, you got to get it now because, at a certain point, the new move is paid subscriptions.
Yeah.
If we end up on the paid subscription side, you want to make sure you get all this content now while it's free.
Get it while it's free. Get it while it's free. We got bills to pay over on this side. We got bills to pay. Got a lot to talk about. Before we get to the serious stuff, I do have a question for you, and then we're going to come back to shooting in Atlanta, shooting in Buffalo. Yeah. A lot going on. A lot is going on. So today I broke down and got a pedicure.
Oh, boy.
I got a pedicure. Now, I don't get manicures.
No.
So
he talks about me for my manicures.
Well, and I talk about my son.
Yeah.
Because Sunday was first Sunday. Resurrection Sunday, and we had communion.
Yeah.
So usually Craig will get the communion. I don't know why he shake it up.
No.
Shakes
well,
it up.
No. Sometimes you do got to shake that.
It's got sediment.
Yeah, that sediment it's about 1 week from wine in those cups.
Okay, so shake it up and ferment the whole cup. Ferment the whole cup. See how the sermon go.
Yeah.
So when he went to grab it, his nails glistening. He got the Easter manicure.
Yeah.
I just hid my hands. I said, I just gave myself a manicure 5 minutes, about 2 hours ago, sitting right here at this desk with my manicure.
We got them 4K high def cameras too.
Right.
To be careful.
You got, and this ain't no disrespect. How you gonna hammer something with the
come on now.
acrylic, or what y'all have on the nails?
Come on now. Well, the move now is a gel because it lasts longer.
Oh my God!
Gel manicure is the way to go
for a man.
For a man.
Oh, I didn't know that. So no more just painting on it.
Yeah,
you gotta
no. Yeah, the day is over for that. And honestly, I had to be convinced because the first time I was, and they were like gel manicure. I was like, what? Oh, absolutely nice. You're not gonna have me under the UV lights,
right? But you get it now.
I get it now.
Oh,
but only because my nail tech, she pressured. Every female in the shop was like, no, it's the new wave. It's the way that all men are doing it. And
not all men.
Well, most. And even some of my OGs that I talked to, they like, oh yeah, we've been started. And I was like, oh, for real. But it gets you out the shop faster than sitting under those fans. So it's not.
Now, this is the funny thing. Now you telling me that you got gel. But when I told you what I'm getting ready to tell the audience, you cringed. So I go to get a pedicure. I was a walk-in today, and when I walk in, you sign in with your phone number. I hate that because then I don't want all those messages. But I'll opt out once and they put me in a chair after I sat real short time. Put me in a chair, start the water. Says somebody, the next available will be with you. Just soak your feet. So I'm soaking my feet. Now the young lady comes over and says, do you mind, do you prefer a woman over a man because the next available tech is a young man, is a man or a man, a male.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, first of all.
Yeah, you got
to see if
got to see who else in the room.
Is there another brother in the room? But I'm looking around like, let me see. I don't know. I've never been asked that question ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
I have, and I am on the. No, I'll wait.
So,
set up my massage chair. I'll be here in a little longer.
Yeah, I had an extraction meeting.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that on Zoom in the nail shop, and because you can't talk low.
No,
you got to talk
loud.
at the right. So it irks me to be in places like that, in public places, and people on the phone and they're talking loud,
handling business, all kinds.
Right.
My number is 7.
Right. I don't like the slope of this. I don't like. So I said yeah.
Oh.
Now, okay. I think if he had came over, he was like 200 pounds.
Oh God.
And like I'd have probably been like, and I don't mean wait. I mean, but like Bill.
Like,
I'd be like, I'll wait.
I'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah. But nice guy came over. Now what I didn't let him do is just straight nails feet. I don't want a massage. No. Number one, I never get that because I don't need it. What for? What for? I have a massage thing. I can go home and do all that. So when he got ready, I was like, no, I'm okay.
Oh boy.
Now he did a wonderful job. I didn't get his name to book with him. So this lady
I'll be a new client.
This lady is walking out. I could have swore she looked over at me and said, disgusting. But she didn't. She was talking about something else. I was like, is this disgusting?
Oh,
now,
boy.
This is what I don't understand. You say no, but you get jail on your nails.
By a woman. Every time. I can't. And the one time I've been waiting on by a man, he did so much talking and he wanted to brag about his other clientele. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not interested in it. Like, I don't, yeah, I'm good on that.
I put my headphones in.
Yeah.
As soon as they come,
yeah,
I pop them in my ear so that they don't even see, so that I don't want to talk. I want you to do my feet so I can go on about my business.
I have been to one salon, and I do believe it might be some Chinese mafia, but allegedly, I'm not saying it, but I believe. And they come over to you with a cart with a timer on it, and as soon as you choose your services, she be like boop boop. And starts that timer, and you are out. Now, that's
the one you go to.
Yeah, one of the ones.
Okay.
Yeah. And
that I went, I ain't had no money, and no credit card.
But I do like it because I'm a time person. So like I've been to the same barber because I'm in and out. I ain't got the time to be waiting for people to be like, hold on, let me eat my lunch. Hold on, hey man, let me run down the street. No, I ain't got time for that. So I appreciate it, but I was just sitting there like, yeah, this a little too controlling in here.
Yeah.
So.
That's amazing that you laughed at me for a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't no Mike Tyson.
If Iron Mike was in there doing nails, then I think I would have.
Let me tell you, I'd be like, yo, Mike,
I'm good.
Much respect. I'm good. I'll wait for Cicely Tyson over there.
Not Cicely.
Miss Cicely.
Not Miss Jane Pittman.
Come on over here, Miss Pittman, because I'd rather have you than Iron Mike. That's just it, and that's all. Over the weekend in Atlanta, last weekend, another weekend filled, unfortunately, with violence, gun violence, all of the week of Easter with deaths, innocent victims. Over the last week, violence erupted. 2 juveniles, ages 3 and 16, were killed. And police were searching for suspects for the Piedmont Park incident. That was and this was while the park is full. And then I know here in Buffalo, we just had a shooting this week or over the weekend.
A couple of them.
And so I know what happens when it starts getting hot.
Yep.
In this one area, I mean, we have so many, a real hot spot in Atlanta, same thing, hot spot in Buffalo. So it's a different size of city, but still going through the same things. Although in both places, crime is down.
That's what they say, and they in both places, and they actually said the nationwide trend is down.
Yeah.
But no one wants to hear that when it's your loved one that's
Absolutely.
affected. But allegedly numbers are down, and sometimes the cynic part of me is like, is that just because of what's being reported, what's not? But I do think like you said, it was kind of like I was watching the news the other day, and it was breaking, and I'm like, oh man, something about Iran, and it was like, no, the spokesperson for the city said there was a homicide last night on Walton, and it's just like, oh man, like you said, it's not even hot out. We just had 2 days of sun, and it's like it's
and Atlanta it's already warm.
So.
Well, the other day it was a little chilly because all the reporters had on coats, but it's warm enough that they outside.
Yeah,
they're outside. They're outside here. They're coming out outside here. Now, some say that, and I'm reading from Brookings, that many experts say part of the drop is simply crime returning to normal after the pandemic. Now, if you do look, so many things did change during the pandemic, whether it was that or church attendance. And now you are seeing I mean, you know, anybody who talks about their church being packed on Easter, get over it, because almost every church is packed on Easter.
Everyone.
But we're seeing this kind of resurgence at our own church of people. I mean, I know I've never had a Easter where people were willing to stand on walls. And Rashawn sent me something the other day about this return of young people to church.
Yes, it is.
And so all of these numbers now that have been skewed for so long, because after COVID, I think the majority of churches struggle to get back to pre-COVID numbers.
Yeah, and there's some larger ones, here. And even in Atlanta, because, I watch a few of those, and Sunday was like the first time I saw New Birth packed all the way up to the balcony.
Right, you haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it. So, but I do think, and some are using caution because even though it's a larger church, you still may have a lot of seniors. So some of them did not return because they still don't feel it's safe. I do feel, though, the church gets the optional hat, because some people, not to say if you have medical situations or vulnerable that you shouldn't, but we'll go everywhere else. We'll go to concerts, we'll go to movie theaters, we'll go to comedy shows, we'll do all of the other social events.
Absolutely.
But then when it gets to Sunday morning in church, like, I can't go over there. I got they sitting us on top of each other. We don't have no health protocols. And it's just like, but you were just on a bus. You were
absolutely.
Absolutely. You went to work and everything else with no mask, and then you get to church, and now it's like, they ain't got no protocols in place. So I do think after the COVID, after restrictions lifted, church became somewhat optional in the grand scheme of things, and I do feel that with the clamoring and that revival in the air, I do think that's where young people are like, hey, listen, as long as the church is offering truth and information and I could feel Jesus, I'm all in.
Yeah, it's starting to change. So some of the experts are saying, that others are saying after especially the protests that the changes in policing strategies, going from a tough on crime, and I know that this is here in Buffalo, to precision policing, where remember they had the shot blast they were trying to do. So, but I will say, and I don't know I do know the last commissioner. I don't know what his strategies were because I was out of government by then.
Right.
But I know that before that, the commissioner before him, he was talking about more community-based policing. He put police officers on the street. He became much more involved in the community centers again and all that kind of stuff, and in programs out in the street with the kids.
The last one was he still believed in foot patrols and being out on the street, being on the beat, having the pulse of the community. So that last one did, and I do know with the new administration, it was kind of a reversal when they were looking for the new commissioner, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But there is different strategies, different strokes for different folks, and as long as numbers keep getting reduced, I don't think people are going to complain. But I think people do in urban settings get used to having officers around, feeling that protection, as long as, the officers are being a part, not just standing there being watchful eyes.
Absolutely.
But those that have been a part, make themselves available and friendly. I do think people feel generally safer in those neighborhoods.
I agree. Now, one of the things that's on here that's kind of interesting, and I agree, it talks about technology.
Yeah.
And having more home ring, almost every street got a couple home ring. I don't care where you're at. You renting, you still putting a home ring. Better surveillance, databases. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to do certain crimes because you might the solvability rate has even gone up.
Yes,
because I'm not a 48 hours first 48 junkie. But on Samsung TV, the last thing you watch is going to keep coming up every time you turn it on. So unless I change it, which I don't know how to change it, I don't have enough time in my life to try to learn how to change it. Unless you change it so it comes up. And you look at the technology that they had, because most of the shows on First 48 on Samsung are old.
Right.
They got flip phones still.
Yeah.
The walkie-talkie type phones still. So they didn't have that technology. Now it's so quick.
Yes.
And the turnaround is so quick. You rob Boo Boo, and if you walk down the street, something gonna catch you.
Yeah, and then even the amount of police cameras that are going in neighborhoods and trouble spots, so now you do got Big Brother looking at you in trouble spots. So and that, like you said, that helps because now you just call in the command center and be like, hey, pull up this location, see what we see in the last 10 minutes. So
and I remember when some of the first neighborhood cams went up, the police cams.
Yep.
People were freaking out.
Of course.
Big Brother watching us, blah, 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 until you were someplace where there's all this drug activity and you couldn't sleep because all the cars and all that. Then it was like, bring it over. We want it. But in the beginning, it was a big deal. There's one place, and I don't know if it's in Atlanta, but it's down in Georgia, that they now have their car. A lot of their cars have tint. Dark tint, even the regular patrol cars, some of them. But this one is an autonomous driving police car. No police in it.
Oh, boy.
You can't tell.
Wow.
And it has the cameras all around it.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know whether there's a police officer in there or whether not, unless you get a front view of inside of the window, and it's just riding through the neighborhoods.
Wow.
And because some of their other cars are now dark, you don't know, is this one with a live person? But they're saying that the reviews are coming back, that the one without a person in it is sometimes more effective because it's recording. It's recording everybody outside. It's recording audio and video and just rolling through the neighborhood. This assignment, this module in my class, we were talking a lot of the legal ethics in public service, and some of it was just kind of about how we make policy that the implementation gets flawed because of ethics, right? So so in this, where it's okay, you have an unbiased autonomous vehicle now that's now constantly recording, constantly listening. There is no bias in that because it's robotic. Right.
But now ethically, am I bothered because now you're always listening and you're always watching?
Yes.
So it is a delicate balance, and but when you're not doing wrong, you really don't. I don't have an issue.
Hey, well, and let me correct. It's not in Georgia. It's in Miami-Dade. The sheriff's office is running a 12-month pilot of the police unmanned ground vehicle called PUG, billed as the nation's first autonomous patrol vehicle.
Yikes.
During the pilot, the SUV can drive itself on a preset patrol route, but a trained deputy must be in the vehicle, is not allowed to pull over drivers or issue tickets on its own. So it's in the pilot, but it's coming. And like you said, if you ain't out there, it's not going to pull you over for speeding, because what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Tell you to self-produce? You know what some folks in the hood doing? They catch me if you can.
Catch me if you can.
Which a guy got caught the other day in Buffalo.
Oh, boy.
For speeding. You know, they got the 33 on lock now.
Yes, they
Been
do.
Police all so y'all need to slow down on. Let me shut up before I get a ticket on 30. But you want to know how they caught him? He got caught in traffic.
This is what I'm saying. But
he got caught. He was rolling, had a Charger or something. I saw the police cam. The sheriff's, I think it was New York State Police. They didn't show the whole thing, but he's riding through and he gets caught in traffic.
There's certain areas you would think we have learned by now. This is not the area for high speed chases. Like we don't have enough highway. We don't have enough freeway space. Lanes are small. We got 2-lane highways.
Well, imagine trying to get away in Atlanta.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You gonna try to make it to Stone Mountain from the airport. Bruh, turn yourself in. Especially in Georgia. Start throwing the guns out, start throwing the weed out, start throwing everything out because they gonna catch you. They gonna catch you in Georgia.
It is not
in Atlanta.
It is not the place. It is not the place.
Speaking of Buffalo and Atlanta, Buffalo is about to get the former police chief of Atlanta.
Yeah.
She was only the second female police chief in Atlanta.
Yep. And
she is going to be the first female police chief in the history of the city of Buffalo. Her name is Erica Shields.
Yep.
She came from Louisville, right?
No, she went to Louisville after
that was her
Atlanta.
last one, though.
Yeah.
That's the last place she worked.
Yep.
Before that, she was in ATL. So we have a unique perspective on this show, being heard in Atlanta on the radio and being heard in Buffalo. I've got to say this right because okay. Mm-hmm. She has a controversial past.
Yes.
In that, let's just read it.
Yep.
It was no coincidence Shield was leading the department for it will require. Nope. Let's get.
You want me? So real quick. So
Go
in
ahead.
June 2020,
yep.
In Atlanta, during the height of the George Floyd incidents, Atlanta had a shooting of Rashard Brooks in June 2020. And with all of the backlash and the community efforts, she resigned within 24 hours of that shooting amid intense pressures and protests. And that was, like I said, in June of 2020. So she immediately resigned after all of those issues. And during those protests, she publicly acknowledged concerns about policing and said that departments must weed out the bad actors and do better. And she acknowledged protesters' frustration, but amidst that, she still resigned within 24 hours after that officer shot a black man.
Now, I want to say this. She did not shoot.
Yeah, she didn't shoot.
But she was the leader of the police. And often, we see this often, that the leader ultimately is blamed for the actions of the department.
Right.
Now, what I have read about her is that she's known for turning around police departments.
Yep. So, as you mentioned with Louisville, she ended up in Louisville after Atlanta, and she took over right after the Breonna Taylor case.
Which is a big haul. But then she left there.
Yeah, I think she went private for a little bit of time.
So I'm not sure why she left Louisville. But what I do know is that she does, according to reports, I don't know her, never met her, is that she has been successful in kind of changing police departments.
Yes.
What that means, I don't know. But here's the thought. So I've been here when we had a police commissioner, Gil Kurlikowski, who was not from Buffalo.
Okay. And
he ended up going and becoming the federal drug czar.
Okay.
Well respected. Gil had bumps in the road, but he was a police officer's police officer. Mm-hmm. He knew police.
Right.
And Buffalo and Atlanta, now Atlanta being much bigger, but she says she sees Buffalo as a big city. That people were basically questioning why would she come to a smaller city and than what she has been. Now Louisville ain't that big, but you were in Atlanta. At the end of the day, she says I see Buffalo as a big city, and I think that's how she's going to approach policing. Now, whether a parochial Buffalo who likes to hire from within.
Yeah.
Because I'm already seeing, stuff online. They didn't have any good police officers here. We couldn't find any here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't a part of the process.
Yeah.
It's easy to be the Monday, quarterback?
The Monday
morning quarterback. I'm going to say what I do hope she does.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to say. And one of the things I do hope is she continues with community engagement.
Yes.
Now, a whole lot of little comments online about how she looks.
We got it. I got the picture.
You got it? Okay.
Got the photo right there.
So they talk now. This ain't the photo they talking about. The photo they talking about, she looking rather mean and all that kind of stuff. But this is her. For those of you on social media, who was the head of police in Atlanta, now coming to be confirmed by the Common Council, and really the Common Council. Really, I mean, they just hear her, interview her, and move on. She will be the commissioner of the city of Buffalo.
I mean, unless there's a bombshell.
It's got to be a bombshell.
A bombshell comes out. She'll get questioned. I'm sure she'll be here. Just like any other confirmation hearing, she'll be questioned. I'm sure, if council members do their due diligence, I'm sure some of these questions will come up that we're talking about.
They're going to do
show.
their due diligence.
Yeah. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Well, not even just residents of Buffalo, Buffalo police officers.
Yes. Yeah.
And not just the ones that follow chain of command and brass, but will you really take hold to change and really listen at someone who came from the outside? Where I grew up, there was, and I forget his name, but he was originally, I believe, in D.C. and came to Philly. He was that black police commissioner that kind of changed both cities, and it was always like, he just wanted he's like the career guy. You bring him in to reduce crime, bring him in to reduce drug activity, and it's like, but if that's what you get known for, that's what you get known for. I'm interested to see if what happens. It, like you said, there is those concerns, those criticisms. Do you leave when times do get hard, or do you stick it out and fight for the change in the forms that you're looking for? And as you said, you agreed with the protesters and the frustration.
Right.
So what do those changes look like now that you got a new mayor, new administration? You kind of get the blank slate. I mean, the only thing holding you back now here is the police union contract. Everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah, I think, and that's the question, with the contract, what's going to happen? Where does she land?
That's up for negotiation.
Yeah, where does she land? She obviously knows the policing side.
Yes.
She has been the police chief when there's a Super Bowl in town.
Yeah.
And part of her focus area, from what I'm reading, is rebuilding community trust and reforms, which is something that we heard about years ago. She comes in and she's known for doing it. What will happen in a union Buffalo?
Yeah, that's
matter of fact,
a vocal police union, like it. I don't know if she's experienced that elsewhere between Atlanta and Louisville, but the police union is very strong.
Atlanta police are not unionized. I just looked it up. Atlanta police are not in the traditional sense.
Okay,
but there are police organizations. There's no traditional police collective bargaining unit.
Oh wow.
They do not have a CBA. But there are police organizations. Officers can belong to groups like the International Brotherhood of Police Officers.
Wow.
However, I was part of the International Brotherhood of Police Officers as a airman when I was a cop in the Air Force. They don't come represent you.
Wow.
They can provide advocates for officers, act like a union voice in some ways, but you don't have those same union protection. What about in Louisville? So I just want to see if she has been. Okay, Louisville police are unionized.
Okay.
Again, very small, much smaller than Atlanta. It's the River City Fraternal Order Police Lodge 614 is a unionized. So she has worked with, it seems, but I don't know if it was during contracts.
Right.
Because she wasn't there that long.
Right, no. She was only there, I think, 2 years.
So I wonder how this is going to work. I think stay open-minded.
That's it.
Because regardless of whether it was somebody local or somebody. I say Gil did one of the best jobs, not from here, has no friends that you got to take care of and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I say, hey, this is what the man ran on.
Yep.
This is kind of the pick I would have expected from a Mayor Sean Ryan.
I agree.
And so I was not surprised at all when it was from somebody from outside
Absolutely.
at all. They had like over 40 applications.
Yeah, and they hired a firm for a national search. So it like you said, this is a pick that I would expect. This is somebody I could see a national firm recommending for Buffalo. So not surprised at all. And we've had our run of rank and file commissioners that come through for the last since I've been here. So like you said, I think police force keep an open mind. Residents keep an open mind, and at the end of the day, we all want public servants to have the public's interest at heart. So, my prayers go out to her, and we'll see what happens.
I wonder what the folks in Atlanta thought about her leadership.
Yeah.
You could put it in the comments. What did you all think of her leadership? Those of you who remember her when she was in Atlanta, and then put in the comments what those of you in Buffalo feel about not hiring in the city from rank and file.
Yeah.
Not promoting someone else up and bringing. I think, and we're gonna go to commercial, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about advocates versus influencers.
Yeah,
who's rocking the boat right now?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that especially those who were looking for police reform are going to welcome it in the beginning.
I think so,
because it's not somebody from here,
right?
And it is somebody who I think Councilmember White is going to welcome him because he was so concerned about overtime,
right?
And I heard that she has dealt with that in other areas.
That's good.
So what you going to do? I mean, you dag if you do, you dag if you don't. We'll be right back.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
And we're back. Thank you to Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes here in Buffalo, New York, and to Hobson's, the doctor of dry cleaning. Listen, it's that time of year again. Got to take that winter. You may as well take that winter stuff on over to Hobson's right now.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and get it ready because winter is coming back again, and so you got space in the closet for your summer stuff.
It might be, the way it's going. It might be next week.
Let's hope not. All right, you brought up something earlier about what was your
the question at hand that kind of came up was, are influencers, and if you don't know what those influencers are, those who kind of make their reputation and influence, for lack of a better word, on electronic platforms, social media, TikTok, Facebook, all of the web-based things, and now even on TV, brands and corporations are using them more and more in commercials. But are influencers replacing our traditional community leaders. Like if we go history, you're talking about your Dr. Kings, your Malcolm X's, your Jesse Jacksons, and the like, and even the ones that are still alive, like Al Sharpton and things like that, are the influencers. Kind of now where everyone turns to for that change in culture and the change in society. And so I think that was the interesting kind of question to talk about, because now even with us in our space and expanding to national audiences, it's it's like you can stay community focused, but is the new wave of getting that information out and making the change?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, just for those who really don't understand influencers, basically people on the web, who give an opinion about something,
right? And
there's a lot of them out there, right?
Yep.
So any topic that you want to look up, you look up the topic, and there's going to be an influencer with an opinion.
Yes,
that's including on the church.
Yep.
Including on politics.
Yes.
And some of them have millions of followers.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they're making money, some of them, this is the wild thing. You can be an influencer and millions of people will follow you. Know you're getting a check because when you get something, those of you might know, called monetize.
Yes.
And that's when you have enough people following you that basically the social media platforms pay you.
Yes.
For your post,
for
every
view.
Single post, for every view. So I'm not saying that influencers are doing it for the pay. Some of them started out just influencing, saying what they felt on topics,
right.
Got a following, and make money on it.
Yeah.
If an activist who is not,
so
you can
true.
be both,
That's
but
so true.
We're talking about a street activist.
Yeah.
We're talking about I ain't gonna throw no names out there, but we talking about people who out there on the ground. We're talking about people who out there at the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people who actually show up.
Yep.
If they got paid, it would be like, oh, you stealing.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, y'all taking money.
That's true.
Y'all getting money for this. Y'all getting money. But an influencer, it's never asked.
No.
It like, and the influencer can brag.
Yep.
You can see that how many views they got.
Yep.
You can estimate how much money depending that they're making.
And now even behind them, they putting their YouTube plaques.
Putting it up, right?
Yeah, so they let you know, I got 50 million viewers on this.
They're letting you know.
Yep.
If I get on, as one influencer says, Obama's internet, if I get on this internet and I say it, millions of people are going to make an opinion based off of what I say.
Yep.
Compared to the person who shows up at the Apollo Theater for a meeting and is saying, I'm fighting for the community.
Yep.
Who do you think is winning right? No, I'll ask. I'm going to ask it a different way. Who do you think is shaping the voice of the community?
So I do think the influencers are, because I think their narratives are getting out faster, and the narratives don't have to be based in anything factual because they're not the press. So the press has a responsibility to public interest, and influencers, their interest is themselves, in all theory. So I where I do think their narratives are getting out faster, it also can be even more dangerous. And so I think right now, because sometimes the way society is going right now, no one has time to go down to your library at 5:30 to hear about what the next rally is. Like, no one has that time anymore.
Do they not have the time, or they choose not to have it?
Or they choose not to have the time. You're absolutely right. Because if you're passionate enough, you're going to go down there and see. But I do think, though, but if say you take that same community meeting and just streamed it, you're going to have more people on the stream than sitting in the room.
Absolutely. That happened recently here in Buffalo, where there's a lot of anger right now with the housing authority.
Yep.
And there's been all of these meetings, and now there's spinoff meetings, and other people are starting meetings, which what we do constantly. But I know one of the main organizers, he had to almost pull teeth to get people to come who even live in the facilities to voice their concern. However, you could take another person, they go on Facebook, they holler about the same thing, and now they got 20,000 people who have watched them.
They got people calling them instead of the council members.
Got them right. So there you go. Exactly.
Yep.
So now this person or these influencers, and some are. Let me say this: some are activists and influencers.
Yes.
And I think probably they have the most juice in shaping the argument.
Right.
Locally, they'll have more because they're on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Globally, they'll have more if they know how to work the internet.
Right.
And they know how to get that audience. So the core tension, I'm just looking at credibility versus visibility.
I agree.
Because for the one who lives in the projects
Yep.
and is saying, hey, this is bad, that's credibility.
Mm-hmm.
For the one who's on TikTok but living in New York City but hollering about what's happening in Buffalo, that's visibility.
Yeah.
And we have people who've actually lived in Buffalo, moved outside of Buffalo, and they're still involved as an influencer in Buffalo politics.
Mm-hmm.
That's visibility, but not necessarily credibility first.
And I agree. And I think that does make a lot of sense because and I think, I won't say this generation, but I think throughout time, sometimes we do just go to the loudest and we go to the most visible. So the one who's the loudest generally gets the most people looking. And now you're like, oh, well, he or she has to be right because they're screaming from the mountaintop.
Right.
And it's like, no, but they're screaming everything wrong. So,
as somebody said, loud and wrong. Because you can be loud, but that doesn't mean you're right. And so who do you think people trust more with things that matter? Influencer or a activist or advocate or activist?
Oh, I think it depends on the person, and it depends on the person, the issue, and how they communicate the issue or the problem or the solution. Because I do think an influencer, if they're just passionate about the area, I think they can get a lot of attention. I think they can do a lot of good with it. Even if it's a bad solution or whatever, I think they will get a good following. I think to your point of the credibility, I think though, if you get the right person, the right charisma with the information, the credibility, because I've been in the fight with you, I think they can win the crowd and get the movement going and start it. But what we know in history with all of the movements, especially with our people, is at some point you got to put a face to it. And sometimes that face is just the one that takes it over the top. Dr. King, he didn't start the Montgomery bus boycott, but once his face got involved, they went national.
Let's look at what just happened with Target.
Yes, that's true.
You had a group of black women.
Yep.
And then you had Jamal Bryant.
Yeah.
And then Jamal Bryant does what he does, and many people saw him as the leader of this,
face of it,
to the point that he had to, even when he stepped back or stepped over a little bit, had to say, hey, put the spotlight over here. They did. But his following was more known, especially in the church community, than theirs was. So then who's shaping the argument? I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But, but it's even with whether influence or traditional space, Al Sharpton does it too. Even Ben Crump, all of these, they come in after tragedy when there's already reform a request on the table. They come in, just bring the spotlight, and they say, hey, we're bringing our whole army behind your effort, and then once we're done, we're on to the next effort. So,
well, it's funny you say that, because I think when I'm looking at this and it talks about the strengths of the activists and then those who may be influencer activists but not from your community, I remember during the Top shooting, and Al was here and Ben was here and everybody was here, and there were some pastors who didn't want, and even when Josh Allen got hired, pastors gathered because he had some comments from when he was a teenager. They didn't, and Al has said he was coming into Buffalo. I remember pastors gathering and going, we don't want him here.
Right.
My thought was, you might not want him as the face, but if you want to get the attention
absolutely
to what happened, you do need some of these national folks
absolutely
to come in, because then that's when the CNNs and Fox News and if you want the subject not to be about you but about your issue, that there are times that you do need. So I do think that in some ways, and whether you like it or not, it's the times we're living in.
Absolutely.
The influencers have access instantly to people. Where activists who pulls together, and you need them both. Let me say that before I get email. The activist who pulls together a meeting that's going to be in 2 weeks. It is already behind. Because now this other one then got on and showed you the receipts and did everything else.
They just literally couple keystrokes, and I'm on live in my living room, and I'm telling you, we're meeting here, we're doing this, we're boycotting, we're fasting, we're not showing up at these stores, and this, that, and the other. And like you said, and I'm still lit dropping neighbors and houses, and somebody already finished their live and eating dinner.
One of the big things that I think Jamal Bryant did was not just putting his church on TV. He's got the talk show. I'll put it to you this way. I can get on. I was doing like these little motivational 30 seconds, choose you. All right, you get, and not that the numbers matter, but the numbers matter. Of if you're going to now grab an audience in this time and age, you might get a couple thousand. I walked out of my house the other day and smelled barbecue. And I put up a post that said something to the effect, I got the worst neighbors in the world.
Oh, yeah. Everybody tuning in for that.
Sunday, as I'm walking through services.
Everybody tuning in.
People telling me about, I watched you in that rib. Today, to date, and this is from Sunday, and this is from small numbers, from a small number. Let me tell you how much. 28,000 people have, almost 29,000 people have watched that video. 29,000. I preach my heart out to them sweating. About to have a heart attack.
800.
750. 750 with 3,000 comments. Right? So I do think, and the pastors can get mad about this if you want to.
You can.
But you better learn what this age is dealing with. Absolutely. At the end of the day, people are going to connect more with me in my backyard, complaining about smelling ribs and trying to eat plant-based.
Because we all were going through it that warm day. I literally was funny because I saw a reel, and that's why I made the comment of like, when you're not the first one in your neighborhood to barbecue, you like.
I came out, I was like, go live. And I meant it. I mean, I ain't meant it was worse, but at the end of the day, it was like, dang, I'm smelling barbecue and I don't even have my grills out, right? That identified with people. Resonated, I should say, with people. More than me saying, take care of your body and eat plant-based. They're going to go like, okay.
Quick.
So it's those things that, to be very honest, when we talk about influence, that I've added and I count it as ministry now. Because you can't, number one, some people are not rocking with the old school, being authoritative pastor who act like he ain't got no problems, ain't never been through nothing, and sending everybody else to hell, right? And so this generation ain't rocking with that. They want to see some Jesus. They want to see the humanity in you that also relates to their struggles.
But that's what Jesus was. Jesus was.
So we got to go here. How many more minutes we have?
We got about 10 minutes.
All right, go ahead, because then I want to talk about hats in church in Niagara Falls.
So that's really what Jesus showed us how to be. It was, how can the divine come into human form and relate to people? That's why the writer of Hebrews can say, we have not a high priest that have not been touched with our infirmities. So at some point you have to come down off of your throne, off of your high platforms, and that's why some of the bigger national activists and influence, they can't always sit at MSNBC and all these large platforms. They eventually got to get on the street, walk the beat with the people, shake hands, go sit in backroom meetings with the people, learn the issue. You take it all in, you feel it. So then when I go to present to my national audience, I know. And like you said, when we went through the Tops incident, and it was like, and see, people can think, oh, we don't want certain ones here. we were fielding those phone calls before they even landed.
Absolutely.
While they were dealing with the other issue, was, hey, I need to get Pridgen on the phone
Yep.
before I fly to Buffalo. I need to talk.
And Sharpton did that.
Right.
Sharpton called and said, I'm coming to Buffalo.
Yep.
But I want to talk to you first. I got mad respect for that. Regardless of whether you agree with somebody, he respected the leadership of this town.
Yep.
I welcomed anybody who wanted to come in. Let's bring attention to these people who were shot dead by this white supremacist. My son, talking about Jesus, at our Niagara Falls location, decided he was going to wear a hat Sunday morning. And he advertised it by saying, just going on social media, said, because he had a young man there who was praising God, had on a hat.
Yeah.
He didn't know the circumstance, but the man, gave his life to the Lord. So he said, you know what, I'm going to wear a hat. Now, a couple came to his church, dressed to the nines, sent him a note. Oh, yeah, that he was going to hell if he didn't repent.
What?
And then gave him scripture about the man should never have his head covered while he is praying or prophesying. And that a woman, so he left the phone number, and he had time Sunday.
Of course he did.
So he called them.
Okay.
So they stay on it. Yes, you had that hat on. That's not right. Now I've just seen other people comments about. And as I said to him, so he called her, and he said, now first of all, it's taken out of context. I want to go to the head of the man is Jesus. But anyway,
I'm trying not to leave.
We could go to the theological stuff, but let's just say she was right. Let's say it meant physical head covering.
Yep.
But when you go to Jerusalem, Jews cover their head. Anyway.
Yep.
Totally misrepresented scripture.
And what do you do with a prayer shawl? But
now the next scripture says that a woman should always have her head covered.
Absolutely.
So he asked her, so do you cover your head every time you pray? And she goes, I'm not a leader. And he said, it doesn't say for leaders.
It doesn't say that.
He said, so I guess you're going to hell too. Something to that effect.
See you there. See you there.
See you there.
Yeah.
Right? So on your comment about Jesus, what I said to him, after I sent him the real interpretation of what Scripture meant, because just for a little breakdown, Jesus had the church and the husband being the head of the wife, and she should never. But okay, here's the point. I said to him, I went through it 30 years ago for you. Maybe 29, when I did Come As You Are, and I never went back. You can come however, just get there.
Right.
And we were dogged. I said, but that's Jesus. Don't talk to me about Jesus and you get scared about controversy.
Absolutely.
Then
absolutely.
I want to know what Jesus you're serving.
Right.
And if everybody likes you, something is wrong.
Absolutely.
There ought to be somebody mad about the people you're attracting.
Absolutely.
And so she left him as he says, on the back of an envelope, a note that he, not just I disagree with you, but having the audacity to think that you have the power or the authority to tell somebody that they're going to hell.
Yeah, he like me. I probably would have called Sunday too.
Called him.
I would have called because first of all, there's so many ways you can go with that, but again, I think that's where the church, and I'll even broaden it. I think that is where religion, any form or fashion, has lost people, and people have lost their faith in the religious culture because it's. If again, and your favorite line, and when I learned it 12 years ago, I've repeated it multiple times. Those rules without the relationship breeds rebellion.
Yes.
So we've had generations that just got rules. Even for me, oh, you can't play this, you can't do that, can't go here, can't do this, and then you just start going, but why? Well, because.
Most of it is tradition.
It is. It's just tradition, and if you can't show me in word why I can't, then in your eyes, it will be rebellion because I'm still going to go to the movies.
A lot of it was control.
Right.
And let's be very, very honest. Christianity was introduced to Africans by some slave owners.
Yep.
So but the Bible was used.
Yes, it was.
By owners who enslaved people.
Absolutely.
It was used as a way of controlling
Absolutely.
people, as a way of making people feel bad. Slave owner tell you don't do something while he go over to his house and do the same thing.
Yep.
Or, so at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that when we look at the influencer, when we look at the activists. I think there's room for both.
Yes.
And I think that when they work together,
right,
we get the biggest bang for the buck.
I agree, and I think it's figuring out how we can either create the hybrids, or is like, hey, just give me access to your platform when I need it. Like I'm not trying to, even with the show, we ain't trying to be in nobody else's market. The thing that makes us great is me and you are going to be ourselves.
Be ourselves.
And we ain't trying to be like anybody else. Ain't trying to do.
Ain't trying to take no fire from nobody. Matter of fact, if you got the fire, you got the smoke. Come on, tell us.
Tell us.
Matter of fact, the guy called the Republican who's running, but he hasn't called me back. I told him to call here. He got me on Facebook. We don't conduct business on Facebook. But yeah, you want to come? You want to talk about it? How do we use our platforms to advance our people?
Absolutely.
Rather than to hurt one another.
Absolutely.
So that I can be the big man on campus.
Yeah. And I do think that's why people were going after Cam Newton for a couple weeks because he had Jason Whitlock on his show. And he just was having an open, honest conversation, and he asked him about Stephen A. Smith and what's the beef, and and people were, well, why didn't Cam defend his friend Stephen A? Why didn't? And Cam basically came out and said, "It's my show, it's my platform, and I won who I won on, and if this is a topic I want to talk about, so what I'll talk
about it."
And I'm hearing more and more people that are just like, if you don't want to listen, don't watch.
You can turn the channel at any time. It's a million things in the algorithms right now.
Million.
You can turn it. So I do think that, before, before, especially in the black community, politics, somebody want to run for office, they came to the church. Some injustice going on, they came to the church. Really, the church was the epicenter.
Yeah.
The church, Dr. King, or the mosque, Malcolm X, like you said.
And even before that, and it's in one of my sermon intros, the whole reparations movement that 40 acres and more, that started by black preachers.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It started by black preachers, Baptist and Methodist preachers in Georgia. The president had commissioned people to go down there and figure out, hey, what can we do to help them out? And those black preachers said, give us land.
Wow.
And that's where 40 acres and more started.
So I think that, we know times are changing. We got cell phones now. Some of the influencers, you don't know whether they're influencers or news reporters.
Yeah, some of them you don't.
Some of them running around with cameras and reporting the news, but then some of the news stations, let's just be honest.
Yeah, the reporters walking around with just phones and a microphone.
Yeah, I'm looking for news that just give me news. I don't always need your opinion.
Yep.
And that's hard to find right now.
It really is.
Because if you go to this side, they're going to be more Republican. You go to this side, they're going to be more Democrat. I just want the news. Tell me what happened. So sometime the one that I do watch most, I turn it off and I'll go to something else because I'm like, I just want, that's why I think NPR, public broadcasting is so important to stay on because they're just feeding you news. They're not giving you the commentary of what they think or who's bad or who's good. I'm intelligent enough to make a decision for myself of what's right and what's wrong.
Or give me a platform that's legit just going to have two people on both sides and just debate the issue. Debate the issue.
One of the stations I watch at least once a week, that's what they have. Yep. And I enjoy it. I want to hear the other side. Absolutely. That's why when we had the little situation, not a bad situation, but had on another guest, I'm open to that. Anybody who thinks I'm so close-minded, they really don't know me. I want to hear both sides and then let people make the decision they want to support.
But that's the whole premise of the show. Power to the people. We are not telling you which way to go. We just bring you the information.
That's all we do.
You make your own conclusions and
we have our own opinions and we have a right to them.
Yep.
But we don't shut down somebody else because we don't agree unless you're disrespectful. That's all we have.
That's it.
I'm going to be respectful to you. You be respectful to me. So it's starting. It's starting. The summer is here. And we're about to see how this goes. Listen, folks, stay safe. I know in Atlanta, a lot of people can buy guns a lot easier than in New York, but you can get them in New York too. Let's make sure that in the heat of the moment that we take time to think and defuse rather than to lose. Because that's what happens when there's a shooting. Families lose, and ultimately, you might lose too. Until next week.
Power to the people.